hate doing it. I always love getting the best player in the trade. It's time to take the package, B. Today's show is all going to be about selling Achane off, down tiering, taking the package, bettering your depth, and getting a couple players in a lineup that could produce rather than just one. So here we go. Here's a great meme to kick us off, right? Thank you for changing my life. I'm literally just Devon Achane, and that's how you got to start looking at this. Top 5 back the last 2 years, so definitely impressive there. Change of leadership though, so something to think about. This is where I'm going, okay? Breece Hall, this is just assuming he's locked in New York again. These are the stats from last year. Looking at PPR points, obviously Devon Achane dwarfed him, 5-21. In terms of rank, you see running back 4 versus running back 10. Obviously, Breece Hall's trajectory is going up if he happens to leave New York, but we're just assuming that he stays in New York for this hypothetical trade here, okay? Also, you see their rush attempts are very similar. It's the attempts, the targets out of the backfield that Breece has 3 compared to Achane's 5, which is really the big difference here, okay? It's another 10 rushing yards. I'm sorry, that's another 10 receiving yards as well as a couple receptions as well. So PPR, big difference, right? And total touchdowns, you have Achane that scores in the top 10 ranked in the league, 11 in total touchdowns, where Breece couldn't find the end zone. The Jets had a big problem with that. Looking at total yards, though, it's not as far as you would think. Breece averaged about 89 yards, whereas Achane was 114. So we're really talking about 30 yards on the ground and maybe a couple more catches. Now, if Breece Hall somehow gets talked into staying with the Jets, with the franchise tag, the transition tag, whatever, and he stays, they're going to have to promise some more touches, man, because this guy has been through it with this team through rebuild since the beginning. And this is the other piece of the trade I'm adding here. So if you're down tiering off Devon Achane and taking Breece Hall, I want you to take someone like a Odunze as well. Someone that's a little less in the spotlight, right? Everyone's thinking Luther Burden is the number 1 option there, or Colston Loveland, when Rome was the top 10 pick. So I realize he played through the injury last year, so that kind of actually benefits us in the buying market because it shows he played all these games, but he was playing injured. He didn't run all his routes. You know, he was out of 2 wide receiver sets a majority of the end of the season. And I just think he's a big part of the Bears' plan in 2 wide receiver sets and the focus going forward. Him and Luther Burden can fight over number 1 targets, but at the end of the day, Rome Odunze is going to help you in your matchup and produce. So I'm taking Breece Hall and Rome Odunze in a package for my Devon Achane. Okay, and this isn't discrediting Devon Achane, okay? There's just a lot of question marks. So let's bring up the Achane focus. And this is the mock trade real quick. Okay, this is a Flock Fantasies calculator. They say it's a fair trade. I never like to show every creator that shows trades. They always show one that they're winning in their favor, right? So this one's ranked even by the system. You're not coming up. I just think when looking at this fair trade, I would much rather have the right side, which is totally off of what I'm usually on. I'm usually on getting the best player in the deal, which is Devon Achane. Let's not get it twisted. But I just think Breece Hall can contribute like a Devon Achane. And we'll see later in the video, Breece Hall has a number 2 overall fantasy running back season. So it's not out of the realm of possibility he could do it again. That was pre-injury. But let's get to Achane. So this is one of my biggest arguing points here, right? He's 24 years old, which is fine. It's still a peak year. But he's been 5'9" and 191, which is in the 20th percentile of the smallest backs in the league. Now, it's worked out so far. What does that mean moving forward? Yeah, it's worked out. Like I told my boy with Terry McLaurin as well, like if you've been playing 17 games, eventually it's coming to get you, right? And being a smaller running back, it just, it makes me sound the alarm real quick. So 25, he was PPR running back number 5, 24, PPR running back number 5. So consistency there in the last 2 years. He's pretty much played every game. You had about, 12 touchdowns last year, 12 touchdowns the year before. So consistency, almost the exact same season, about 20 more PPR points this year. but you're losing Mike McDaniel, and maybe this is overstated, but losing Tua Tagovailoa as well. And Tua Tagovailoa, if there's one thing we know about Tua, he loves checking down. Okay, the check down Charlie, that's Tua. He's not a rushing quarterback, so he's going to rely on Achane to get those extra receptions. You saw 2 more targets a game out of the backfield than Breece Hall. So with losing Tua, with losing Mike McDaniel, there's just a lot of question marks that I don't really want to invest in Achane, and him being the 20th percentile smaller back of the league is something that's really kind of raising the sirens. He hasn't been hurt yet. Top 5 back-to-back years, losing his coaching staff. There's just a lot of variables that I'm a little nervous holding Achane. Let's look at Breece Hall here. So Breece Hall, also 24, a little bit taller. Wish he was a baller. We're all waiting, right? Much heavier though, at 220. Here's what Breece Hall has been doing lately. If you're part of that crowd, what have you done for me lately? Not much. A depressing 5 touchdowns last year. The Jets hardly got in the end zone. The quarterback that was running was like Cook at the end of the year. I don't think he even moved the ball down the field at all. There was a breakaway run, I think 40 plus yards last game of the season from Breece Hall that helped me win my championship. So, you know, I'm messing with Breece. But it is depressing looking back. You're barely a top 15 back. In the last 2 years, he actually hasn't been. But looking back to 23 and knowing the capability of him possibly ripping off 1,500 yards, that puts him right in the conversation for top 5. So I know we're preying on a 2023, but that's why the piece of Rome Odunze helps even that out. So let's take Breece down. Let's get Achane. A couple more hype pieces, right? Dolphins running backs under Mike McDaniel. We saw Raheem Mostert do it too. He was fantasy running back too. And we know what Mostert is. He's not anything super special. We saw him in San Francisco. We saw him with the Raiders as of late. Okay, so I'm putting this on McDaniel's system. So yeah, Omarion Hampton, we're going way up on the stock there. But him leaving Achane, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough to replicate those numbers, be a top 5 back, and avoid injury. Just too many question marks for me. Here's another one that just like sells Achane, right? End of the season ranking, his yard per carry up over 5.7. Insane. You see our favorite backs beneath him at 5.3, 5.1, 4.9, and Achane was the leader here. So again, I get it's scary losing your top running back here, but I just think there are so many options. By looking back at this trade, it kind of opens up your team to pivot off of a 24-year-old back. You're getting the same. Let me get this trade up. Hold on. You're getting the same age back, so you're not losing any years. Dynasty were the same. You're going Achane for Hall, but you're getting that Odunze boost. So if Hall doesn't produce like Achane, and we think he has a good chance of, especially if he gets out of the Jets, so there's just a lot of things that could work in our favor. And then Achane losing his coaching staff, being a smaller back, there's too many question marks here. I'm taking the package. I'm taking Breece Hall and Odunze over Achane every time I'm cool downgrading there. What do you guys think? Achane for Breece Hall, Odunze, what side are you on? It's pretty easy for me. I'm taking Breece Hall and Odunze and moving forward. Thanks for watching Generate Talent. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.